I'm DJ Sweet J,
I'm Indispeezy.
and we are In It Together
DJs.
DJs. Okay, so Indispeezy, tell me a little bit about your career, because I mean you've got quite an impressive CV. You've been in the industry for quite some time, plus VAT, quite some time. And you've had some nice things happen to you, and not so nice things as well, which happens to all of us. But let's talk about the nice things, shall we? So, how did it all start for you?
Well, music is it's always been my passion. I used to do a lot of dancing and choreography, and that's pretty much what catapulted me into music or the love of music.
Okay, so tell me a bit more about because I mean, to be honest, I've heard this story before, but I want the audience to hear this story. It's really interesting. Check this out.
Well, I mean, I was in high school. We had this variety show going on. Everybody got to pick an act that they wanted to emulate, and I decided to be Cisco. Yeah, he's obviously one of the members of Drew Hill. So, yeah, I choreographed the whole thing, like all his moves and stuff. And we actually won that variety show.
Wow, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. It all started with you being a dancer.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay, so then what happened afterwards?
Well, I mean, after that, we did like 3 other shows as a result of winning it. And that's pretty much where I gained my nickname, Indispeezy, which is taken from a lyric from Cisco's song that I danced to, which was Dance For Me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, can you give us that lyric, please?
Well, in his song, he says, I don't mean no disrespeezy. So people kind of moved that around and put Indispeezy instead of disrespeezy. So that's kind of where my name was birthed from.
What happened next?
Well, I just started, I was in my room and practicing dancing, and I started singing along to some of the songs I was practicing too. My mom walked in and she was like, "You can actually sing." And, she was shocked that I could actually sing.
Okay.
Because it's something I've been practicing for a while, but quietly, in the shower, that kind of in your bedroom kind of thing. So
Yeah.
I didn't really publicize myself as a singer.
Yeah.
But my mom heard me, and then a few of my friends as well. When they came over to my house, they would hear me singing. Yeah, that's kind of when I started saying, okay, maybe if I start writing some lyrics. I started writing lyrics. I made a song, and then I recorded that song, and then I started publicizing it. And a lot of people were giving me very great reviews. So it's something I decided to pursue.
Wow. So your journey for becoming like an artist started that way.
Yeah.
And straight away you were able to write down some lyrics to your song.
Yes.
And you were able to put the song together.
Yeah.
And you were able to produce it yourself.
Yeah.
And then you released it and people said it was good. So talk us through that process, of writing songs.
My songwriting actually came from my love of poetry, because I used to like, writing poetry. And obviously in poetry you rhyme a lot.
Right.
Extracted lyrics from my poetry and started making into a melody instead of just something that I would write and talk through. So I started making melody through it, and that kind of helped me build, my skill as a songwriter.
Right.
I won a Poetry International Award from America. I think it was Pittsburgh. Yeah.
Wow.
I came first in that competition.
Wow.
So obviously, and that was out of thousands and thousands of poetry writers and stuff. So that was a very good way to promote and propel my songwriting skills as well.
Tell us about putting melodies together and beats together to produce music.
Yeah, that's something I learned much later, because obviously I was just writing songs and singing them. But essentially, when I first started, I was obviously working with other people who would just send me beats. I would write to, record on. Eventually, I'm on a short course at a college where they'll teach you how to use production software, which was called Reason at the time. So I went for some workshops and made my very first beat on my very first workshop. And obviously the tutor was very impressed because nobody else knew how to do anything.
It's
Yeah.
something that was natural.
Yeah.
But it took that particular occasion for you to realize that you could actually do it.
Yeah.
And then what happened? And then what happened after that?
Get to perform on a showcase with some other upcoming artists. Time it was N-Dubs. They were not very known, but they were getting their
She's
name
name
about.
dropping. She's name dropping.
Yeah, and there was I think there was Skepta was in there. He was also just starting.
Skepta
so yeah,
the rapper.
yeah.
We met, right? So tell the viewers and the audience how that came about.
I mean, you can tell it as well because we met each other.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't have to tell the whole story. You can tell some of the story.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I think it just will sound better coming from you. But basically, I went to this hairdressing show. At the time, I was, promoting. I was heavily involved in the hairdressing business. There was a hairdressing show going on. We got to the place, and there was a bit of confusion going on around, sort of like the stage. And I found out that what happened, the DJ that was meant to turn up to do the whole show was a no-show, basically. Yes, am I right?
And that DJ happened to be my uncle.
Uh-oh.
So it's deeper than that. It was my uncle.
So, to cut the long story short, I stepped in to help. There was no DJ. I didn't go there in the capacity of a DJ. I went there in the capacity of a marketing manager of, a family hairdressing business. Yeah? And you were one of the performers of the show. Am I right in saying so?
Yes, I was.
Tell me a little bit about that show.
I recorded a song with this young producer at the time called Lil K. Lil K. So we recorded a song. He gave me the beat, and then I recorded the lyrics over it, and he did his part as a rapper as well. So that's the song that we performed together. He was there that day. I can't even remember the name of the song. I think it was called I Ain't Coming Back or something like that. So got on the stage, started performing. I was very nervous. I had some CDs, like little EPs of some of my songs that I compiled, and obviously I'd written them, recorded them at home.
Sparked things
And
off.
that was pretty much it, really. Yeah.
I listen. That EP was the bomb, serious bomb. I listened to it and I thought, wow, this artist is going to be really big in the future. So I got involved, basically. Look, we went together at that time. Yeah, it was purely professional. Believe me when I say that. That show that you did, I thought, this woman's personality and her persona and her style and everything like that reminds me of people like the Brat and people like that, Missy, that kind of style, and seriously, that's her style. Yeah, it's not, I'm making a comparison, that's actually her style. If you listen to her music, you know what I'm talking about, basically. So I thought, why don't you rap? Do you understand what I'm saying? So I kind of like stretched her brains. I challenged her to become a rapper. And guess what? She did. It went as far as her rapping in different languages. So tell me a bit about that.
Well, I mean, rapping is something I did here and there, like in some of my songs, but it's not something I was doing full time. I was more into, singing and the melodies and stuff like that. I like the love songs and things like that. But yeah, it's something different to try. But yeah, essentially it did work out. In terms of the languages, I mean, I'm not like fluent at everything, but I did learn how to, rap in some, linguistics as well, which is French and a bit of Spanish and Patois, which I like a lot. So I tend to, put that into or incorporate that into my songs, here and there.
You see, the reason why I'm kind of like smiling is because Patois is something that we actually both love that language. We think that language is the business. Patois is just, I don't know, it's just got a swagger to it, So we do speak a lot of Patois sometimes, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
Like if you want to blast the kids, what would you say? Sometimes when you're blasting the kids, We speak in patois language.
Yeah, we tend to do that sometimes. I know.
Like I said, the greeting, wagwan. What happened?
Yeah, wagwan, me picnic. What you want, you know?
What the picnic them doing? Crazy. But that's how our house is here. We're a bit of a crazy bunch. But anyway, yeah. So that's basically, Indispeezy's, career in a nutshell. But there's one thing that I haven't said. Actually, a couple of things, right? One, you used to collaborate with people a lot. I remember some of the time in the early days when we met, the online portal that everybody used. Do you remember?
Yeah, MySpace.
MySpace. Would you believe there are still people using MySpace in some countries? I can't believe it. That is vintage, man. Vintage MySpace. But guess what? You had a lot of views, if I can use that word. Yeah, is it views?
I think it was followers.
Followers, yes. You had thousands of followers on MySpace, and then you used to collaborate with a lot of producers, and then you ended up collaborating with one producer from South Africa, and you ended up with a #1 hit. Yeah. So tell us about that. That particular track was kind of like a house track, wasn't it? He did a house remix to the track, and that track got played, in places around the world. And I remember we had one of my friends called us to say, "Oh, you know what? I just heard your music. It was played right after Beyonce's music." So tell me a bit about that.
Well, I mean, it was a track called TLC, which is obviously Tender Loving Care.
Right.
It was, I had that DJ called DJ Pee-wee. He sent me the beat for it and asked me to, put something on there. And I did. I wrote lyrics for it, recorded that track, and I sent it back to him. And he said that song was making waves in the clubs because he was playing it in South African clubs and stuff.
Wow.
And it did. It started making waves in the whole of South Africa. Started going to other countries like Kenya, Zimbabwe, Ghana. Yeah, quite a few countries. And then, it started making a lot of noise and all that. So
we went straight to #1 and was there for 3 weeks.
Yeah, that was in
right?
BBC Northampton. Obviously, that's where I'm from, Northampton. But they
North
played
South.
one of my tracks, which was the first track that I recorded with Lil K.
Okay.
The one I performed at the Northampton Hair and Fashion Show.
Okay.
That one, I Ain't Coming Back. It was on this program called The Weekender at the time.
Okay.
Yeah, where kind of like upcoming artists and stuff, and some established artists would, get their music played. And essentially mine made it to #1. And,
Yeah. So those are some highlights in your career. Yeah. Fantastic. And talking about that, obviously, the new genre that we're dealing with is a new version of house music in it called amapiano.
Yeah.
And we've now kind of reinvented ourselves, and we are back in the industry as Init2gedaDJz, and we specialize in amapiano. Give me a little history about what you know about amapiano.
Amapiano is a South African genre. It's not essentially new. It's new to the world, but obviously not new in South Africa. I think it's been going on for more than 10 years, 2010. But before that, they used to call it a house or kwaito or kwam. So there are different versions of it.
Oh, by the way, the kwam, is it kwam or is it mwam?
I don't,
The time
yeah,
they
I
said
don't know.
mwam. Ah, man. That South African language is deep.
The first time I really heard it making waves was during lockdown. When the first song I heard was by, is it like Goya Mena? Where he did
Ameno, yeah.
So a lot of the celebrities were kind of doing clips to that on TikTok and dancing to it. Some of the lyrics are quite catchy and stuff. So that's kind of when everybody started hearing about amapiano to the world.
The territory in the United States of America is huge, isn't it? It's huge. And that's one way. Even Brits have gone there to try and break into the American market, because they know that once they've broken into American market, it spreads around the world faster, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does.
To be honest with you, I heard my wife playing some amapiano music in the car, and I thought, what in the world is this stuff? When I first heard it, some of the songs had distorted basses and bass lines and things like that. I was thinking, and obviously the language is in South African language, which I don't understand, which is Afrikaans and Zulu and that. I know Mandela came from there. I've always been a fan of South Africa. They've produced some really high profile musicians, Maria Makiba and things like that. So I've known about South African music for quite a while, and the culture is pretty damn good. I like it. You see what I'm saying? So when this music came out, this amapiano music came out, I was like, some of the beats sounded alright, and the bass lines will drop. There was one track in particular called Trigger. I was listening to that track and was thinking, whoa, what kind of track is this? So at first when I heard it and some repetitive sounds and things like that, I was listening to it and thinking, but then eventually it started sinking in. And now I am completely in love with that genre. I can hear it over and over and over. And now I've become a DJ that plays that genre. I'm specializing in it. Don't get us wrong. We can do all genres. All genres.
Yeah.
We specialize in a lot more sort of like the urban stuff, for a better word, urban music, which is what? R&B, hip-hop, gospel, jazz, reggae, dance hall, that kind of stuff. But I've done, like I said, the Ibiza stuff, I've done it. I've done the Garrett stuff, I've done it. But the amapiano is just the production of it. So basically, we've decided that we're going to be remixing some of our songs, amapiano version of it. So watch this space.
Withstood the curses they put on me. Oops, my principality.